The biggest story, at least here in the United States, coming out the last few days, is the talk about how the U.S. did in the group stage, specifically that 0-0 against Portugal.
I mean, we look shaky. I'm not gonna lie, we look very shaky. We're not cohesive. We're kind of on islands right now. But I've said this before, you learn the most from your losses, and this felt like a loss for this U.S. squad. It really did. And I have full faith that they're going to come back. You saw Kelly Herrera at the end of the game amping everybody up, checking everybody, which I think is what we needed. We needed like that confrontation of this isn't good enough. This isn't us. We need to do better. And I have full faith that they can. And this next stage against Sweden, they're going to have to. If I'm the Swedish side, I'm thinking, you know what? This is the time to strike. This is where, you know what, they're not together. Here's where we're going to come in and thrash this U.S. squad where they haven't had the best track record against us. So it's going to be a good game.
And the group stages to the round of 16 is two different ball games.
Yeah.
And the United States completed what they needed to do in the group stages. They got through, they qualified for the round of 16, check that off, turn the page and move on. But it was shaky throughout those group stages. When you look at the stats and how this team broke down their opposition, or rather failed to break down their oppositions, and in front of the goal specifically, the United States had 17 shots on target and they scored 4 goals. They only conceded 1 shot on target to the Netherlands, and that goal found the back of the net. But remember, shots off the post don't count as shots on target. It was a lot of question marks moving forward.
Defensively, I think in all of this, we expect the U.S. to score a lot of goals because they've been dominant for so many years. If you look at the front line, if you look at the subs, you're saying goals are in this. They should be scoring goals. I think that the defense has gotten a little bit just brushed under the rug. They've been very solid defensely.
Yeah, they conceded 1 shot on target.
Yeah. 1 shot on target. It goes in. It was a crowded box where that comes through. I think that was a good goal for the Netherlands. They've been playing very good. I think Naomi Girma has been so good, especially in this last game against Portugal. We saw how much ground she had to cover because I do think Crystal Dunn was getting pulled everywhere. Andy Sullivan was getting pulled everywhere. So you don't talk as much of the defense. Okay, we've given them that nice little pat on the back defensively. The question that I've had for the last couple of years is, who does this team want to be? How do they want to progress the ball? And one of the things that I think is really difficult for them, and we saw it against Portugal, who plays a diamond midfield, which is narrow. This team plays very narrow in a 4-3-3. Their wingers are inverted. They don't utilize their outside backs when they do. Crystal Dunn, on her heat map, on her passing map, is inside.
She comes inside.
She's inside trying to connect with Lindsay Horan.
And it makes it so crowded in the middle.
It kills space. Crowded, and your wingers don't want to be wide. So then what happens when it's crowded? You end up losing the ball because there's more defenders in that space. It's easier for the defenders to win the ball and then switch the point of attack. And I think this U.S. team needs to utilize space a little better. They need to utilize movement off the ball, and if they're going to have success against Sweden, they have to set the tempo.
We'll get into what they need to do against Sweden, but Darian, was there anything that you saw in this match that you want to point out as well?
Anything? I mean, I'm going to say I think our front three needs to connect so much more. There was hardly any passes between, I think it's in single digits if there are any. I don't know the exact stat, but
Alex Morgan completed 4 passes.
There we go.
No, 2 of her 4.
No, 4 of 13. Oh, 13. I like it. I like where you're going, though.
2 to a front runner.
2 to a front runner, and the other 2 were backwards or square.
Yeah. Exactly my point. You can see it. There's no combination play. I think everyone's playing very one-dimensional, just running away from the ball. We're not coming into the pockets, which was our success in the first match, which is pulling the defenders out and then exploiting the space. So that's something that really needs to get better in this next match, just all around cohesiveness.
Yeah, it was
to
so
not
disjointed.
be so predictable.
Very disjointed.
Very predictable.
But when we talk about that disjointed aspect, Lisa, that leads me to you. Lynn Williams' passes. We have a graphic with those passes. Can you talk me through what this means?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting graphic we see here. Lynn Williams is on the right, and it shows her passing patterns. Most of them square and back to the left center back and the right center back. Typically, as a right forward, you want those passes forward. You want to be combining with your front runners, perhaps the attacking center mid as well. And that was not at all happening with Lynn Williams in this.
You know what I like about this, though? is what do you want from Lynn Williams? You want to get her isolated. You want there to be space around her, and she is in an isolation there. Look at all the numbers for the U.S. on the left side of the ball. That was Crystal Dunn. That's Lindsay Herrera. Everyone over there. Sophia Smith.
These are their average positions.
Average,
throughout the match.
yeah. But for Lynn Williams, I would have liked to see so many more of those passes. Yeah, they could go backwards, but can she move 15, 20 yards down the field? There were barely any times that the U.S. just switched the point of attack and put it in the space and beyond Portugal's back line and said, go for it, Lynn. At least that would have been some kind of isolation that Lynn Williams could have ran onto and utilized. One of her best assets is the speed that she has, the tenacity she has in attacking a defensive player running back to their goal saying, oh my goodness, Lynn Williams is chasing me down.
And getting defenders off balance, running at them, forcing them to open up their hips and change their hip positioning. And as a defender, it's incredibly hard to defend when Lynn Williams is running at you like that.
Yeah,
she didn't do that at all.
And we're not playing to our strengths. I don't know what Lynn back to goal, playing backwards and not going in behind, and to your point, exploiting these huge gaps out wide, which is our bread and butter, the 1v1s, the going end line, the outrunning people, out being more physical than anyone that they're going against. And we're just not seeing the bite that we usually have.
So you guys mentioned that stat on Alex Morgan. We can agree it's 4 out of 13 passes. What does that say about our center forward, though? What are we expecting of her, and how should we see that moving forward?
I think you're expecting more from Alex Morgan. Her game has changed over the last couple of years in the style of play that she needs and is asked of her on this team. Typically, she was getting in behind, running over the back line and getting on the end of long balls. Now we've seen her have a lot of success dropping into the midfield, being a target forward and being able to lay the ball off to her teammates. But the fact that she couldn't find the ball and she couldn't connect her passes means that we weren't ever progressing the ball forward as the United States and getting it to her, even if she was open or if she was trying to find those pockets to then combine with her either outside wingers or Lindsay Horan, Rose Lavelle, the center midfielders that should have been opening up and creating angles for her underneath of her.
And I think one of the things that they could have maybe done, and this speaks to like the adaptability, I don't feel like this team adapts very well in the game. Sophia Smith was getting double teamed on the left side. They were shifting over. They were not allowing her to get the ball. I would have brought her into the middle of the field. And I think they did at times, and we saw Alex Morgan get to the end line a couple of times. But the front three didn't really have much rotation between the three of them, and all three of them can play in the center, and all three of them can play in the channel. So I think that maybe even that, just having a little bit of what's the game presenting to you? Can you be adaptable in the moment to say, oh, they're double teaming me. I'm going to go into the middle, see if they still double team me here in the middle, pull players centrally, and now we can have maybe some more isolations out wide.
But that is not a new issue for the United States teams. This has been a problem that we've seen over the last 18 months with this squad, and that they cannot adapt and read the game and make adjustments on the fly.
My question, Darian, and I don't want an explanation, I just want to know, who does that decision fall on? Does it fall on the coaching staff directing that change, say the one that Jordan is saying, or the players to talk between themselves and say, hey, let's interchange this right now?
I believe it's both. If you feel you have the freedom from your coach to make those decisions in the game, boom, it's going to happen. These players are smart. So I think they need to take it on their own shoulders and be like, this isn't working. Pop in the middle, let's drag defenders out, let's do some runs on the inside shoulders of the outside backs and expose them so that they respect us doing so, and then they're going to drop off, and then we can play the game plan our coach wants us to, which is clearly, let's keep the ball in front and play in these tight pockets, but you have to create the space. So I think the players need to just shoulder it and read the game and take it on and execute.
Nice. Okay, so let's listen to what Vlatko Danovsky had to say in the post-game.
I've never seen this team step on the field and not try hard or not compete. So everyone is entitled to opinion, and that they can say they can say whatever they want. But I just know how this team feels, and it's not like we played well by any means. We owned it. We know that it's not good enough. We know we're not happy with our performance, but. We qualified for the next round. We're moving on.
So when he says that last line there, how do you guys feel about that? You know, they're not happy with it, but they're moving on. How do they move forward?
I think it's a good line. I mean, I agree with him. There's an element of turn the page. We're starting a new chapter of the round of 16. It's win or go home at this point. And up until then, it wasn't. It was let's just get out of the group. And the fact that he admits it wasn't good enough is at least positive in that sense, because I don't think it was good enough either.
It's hard not. I keep saying it, but it's hard not to think about 2015.
Yes.
This team, there was the exact same questions coming to this team out of group play. They did not perform the way that everybody expected them to perform. But the mental fortitude of this group has always been that of, we will find a way to win. And I think that's why Kelly O'Hara shouldered some of the weight of saying, you know, I'm going to talk to my teammates. I'm going to be the one that talks to Rose Lavelle. I'm going to be the one that addresses the team. And they have people in there who have been in this exact same spot, and they won a World Cup 4 games later. So I think that really helps them right now. But it's a tall task right now. They're going to have to really figure out a way to mentally get through this.
We do have to say no Rose Lavelle in that match against Sweden. Massive loss. Darian, I just want to get your last thoughts on that upcoming game. I mean, that's something that all of us have our eyes on. Do we see the U.S. putting it together, figuring it out, and getting through?
I think so. We just need to put all of these elements together. I'm still going to ride with Ertz in the 6. I still want to see her there.
I wanted you to get that in.
I do. I really do. And I think DeMello is going to come in and play in that 10 pocket. Or, you know, I would like to see Ashley there too. I think it would be fun to see her there and get that she has the dribbling prowess that Rose has, and she can distribute the ball well. But I think that's going to be a big pocket for us.
And drawing those parallels to 2015, it was Lauren Cheney also received double yellow cards, and she was going to be out for the first round of 16, and it opened up this brand new game plan for the United States. So it's not, it opens up different things, positivity.
We're ready for the tweaks, Jenny.